I'm Amit Karnad and my wife Nivedita Karnad.
My name is Shilpa. This is Harish.
Sarat Sharma, Sandhya Gupta.
Pradeep Nainan.
My name is Arpita.
I'm Dr. Rahul Ghatwal.
My name is Perumal.
Myself Sriram, my wife Lalita.
I am Gorakh Parulkar. She's my wife Tejal.
Rovina Glassford.
Deven Shah.
सरस्वती चावले.
मेरा नाम स्मृति है.
I am Anil Abraham.
I am Faisal.
I'm Joyce.
I'm Suresh. This is Pratibha.
My name is Dew Dikuna.
I'm Subrat.
My name is Shilpa. I'm Dr. Revti.
I am Jaydeep Devastale.
I'm Josna Mutalik.
मेरा नाम हर्षित जैन है.
My name is Naveen.
I'm Mrs. Preeta Gopal Swami.
I am Puneet Bhatnagar.
My name is Raghava.
My name is Atul Saraf.
I'm Sumit.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
I'm Vidyut.
Raj Joshi.
This is Itishri and she is Vidushi.
I'm Himali Gada.
Myself Sriram.
I'm Dhananjay. Sachin Jain.
Jignesh Mehta.
My name is Balamurgan.
Hema Shah. I'm Ranu.
I'm Dr. Atul.
I'm Erika Tarapurwala.
Hi, this is Nick.
I'm Hema Bharadwaj.
I'm Charlotte.
My name is Amin.
My name is Rebecca.
Dr. Matthew.
I'm Vinita.
My name is Grace Mary Matthew.
Hello, I'm Ahad. My name is Ishan.
My name is Raghu.
Hi, my name is Radha.
I'm Malvika.
I am Arunab Chanda.
I'm Salavi.
Nuj.
Anandita.
Ravi Almeida.
Ram. Arham Moin. Shamli. My name is Yvette Cynthia Fatima Pinto.
We come from Borivali in Mumbai.
I am from Bombay.
Stay in Mumbai.
From Mumbai.
From Mumbai.
I live in Mumbai.
From Bombay.
Still from Mumbai.
From Mumbai.
I'm from Nasik.
We live in Pune.
We are from Pune.
We are from Pune.
I am from Pune.
I live in Pune.
I'm from England. We live in Panchgani.
I stay in Lonavala.
I'm from Goa.
Goa.
I'm coming from Bangalore.
I live in Bangalore.
I'm from Bangalore.
We live in Bangalore.
We stay in Harda. It's a small town in Madhya Pradesh.
I'm from Bhubaneswar.
We come from Nainital.
I am from Davangere. It is in central part of Karnataka. I am from Tamil Nadu, Chennai.
From Chennai.
From Rajasthan.
हम लोग अभी गुड़गांव में रहते हैं. I am from Bihar and Sarat is from Uttar Pradesh.
I live in Kanbadi, a village near Avishkar. It's in Himachal Pradesh.
I'm a service class salaried person. She is a teacher and a homemaker too.
I teach at IIT and my husband teaches in the Chennai Mathematical Institute.
In an IGCSE school. I've been teaching English for the past 10 years or so.
I have a teaching background. I was a teacher in a regular school.
Yeah, I'm a computer engineer. I work at a small company called Dhruva.
I am a computer engineer. I have my own business.
I'm 32 years old. I'm still figuring out what I want to do in life. But I work in the IT industry to earn my living.
Both of us are electrical engineers.
Mechanical engineer by qualification. I've been for about close to 2 decades into manufacturing.
I'm a hardware engineer by profession, but a natural farmer by a passion. I am basically a farmer.
She works for a multinational bank. So I look after Akash at home.
I am a pathologist. Tejal is a microbiologist.
I'm a pediatric surgeon.
I'm a homemaker and homeschooling mother.
My profession is dentist.
Physician.
I'm a consulting homeopath.
I'm an artist.
I am an actor.
I'm a writer.
I'm an architect. Primarily, I'm a freelancer in the field of events and media.
I do creativity training.
I run an institute at Malad. It's a toy library and I'm a trainer. I take parenting workshops and also mind map workshops. I'm a homeschooling parent.
I have an 8-month-old son and I've decided to go for homeschooling.
1.5-year-old son.
My son is of 2.5-year-old.
I have a 3-year-old daughter.
Summer and this is Sky. Our girls are 4 now.
I have a 4-year-old daughter, Anandita.
I have a 5-year-old son, Nicholas.
5 साल का बेटा है ईशान. We have a daughter named Gauri who is 5.5 years old now.
Son Hardik, who's 6.5 now.
7-year-old daughter Simran.
We have 3 children. Anand is 7, Namrata is 5, and Dheeraj is 3.
We have a daughter who will be 7 next month. Her name is Maya. I have got 2 children. One is 7-year-old and the other one is 3-year-old.
I have a 7-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter.
बड़ी बेटी डोरी जो 8 साल की है और उसके बाद मेरे ट्विंस हैं खुशाल एंड खुशाली.
Homeschooling my 2 kids, Daniel and Dave. Daniel is about 9 years old and Dave is about 6 years old.
Our son Advait who is 9.5.
I have 2 children, Raghu and Zoya, who is now 10 and Zoya is soon to be 7. Son who's almost 11, Anand.
I have a 11-year-old daughter and 2 years and 7-month-old daughter.
My 2 children are Viveka, 12, Devu is 8.
We have 4 children. Our oldest, Jeremy, is 13. Our next, Daniel, is 11. And then we have 2 girls that are ages 5 and 2, Eliana and Joanna.
We have 3 children, the oldest being 14,
The second is 10, and the last one is going to be 7 next month.
My eldest is 14, my son is 12, and the youngest is 9.
Our two children who are grown up now, Persis and Natasha. Persis is 27 and Natasha is 25, and they were both homeschooled.
We started homeschooling it about 1 year ago.
We have been homeschooling them since October 2013.
We are quite young to homeschooling. It's just been an year.
I have been homeschooling my children for the past 1.5 years.
I've been homeschooling my 3 children for the past 2 years.
We've been homeschooling for 3 years now.
5 years of homeschooling.
My whole journey of unschooling that I started 6 years ago.
Actually, I had started for both of the kids 6 years back, but then somehow my son thought it that he likes school more, so both of them started going to school.
We've been homeschooling for the past 7 years now.
We started homeschooling a few years back.
We have been homeschooling for the last 9 years.
Unschooling my 3 children for the last 20 years.
We're basically looking at the possibility of homeschooling. We haven't started homeschooling yet. Our daughter is 2 years old, so we're still trying to figure out whether homeschooling is the way to go, alternate education, the alternative ways.
Homeschooling was a concept since long to me, but I don't had courage to do that.
I wasn't sure if it was fair to my child if I homeschooled her. I was not sure if we were competent enough to teach our child from home.
मैं और मेरे हस्बैंड दोनों ही हिंदी मीडियम स्कूल में पढ़े, तो सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन ये था कि हम लोग जो घर के अंदर जो अंग्रेज़ी का जो इन्वायरमेंट नहीं क्रिएट कर पाते हैं, जो स्कूल में शायद लोग अंग्रेज़ी मीडियम स्कूल में ये लोग समझते हैं कि ऐसा होता है, तो वो इन्वायरमेंट हम कैसे दे पाएंगे, वो चीज़ बच्चे कैसे सीख पाएंगे, ये सबसे बड़ा प्रश्न था मेरे लिए.
There were a lot of worries in terms of, we got a particular kind of education, and will we be able to give our children, offer them the same chances that we had, and so will we be able to meet up in terms of academic excellence to and give them everything that they would need. So that was a worry initially.
Homeschooling, yes, still a lot of doubts because we both are working, and how it goes exactly we don't know.
I was reading about it, and I knew kids who were homeschooled. I knew parents who were homeschooling, and it sounded like a great idea. It made a lot of sense. But then when we moved to India, we weren't sure.
It was really a difficult call when we decided to do homeschooling for our kid Adhya, who is now 8 years old.
A lot of anxieties, but at the same time, we felt we did achieve some things.
When he was born and he was so young, I could not trust to give my son so young at tender age of 3 or something to anybody else. Well, I didn't know homeschooling, so I thought you have to send to school. So I used to go to many schools, and I told them that I will be there till he starts trusting you and this place. But that never happened.
Just as I thought I was all set to put him into preschool, because I thought I was going to go back to my lovely little art world, and he'd be in preschool. And the preschool hours were 3 hours a day, and it was a beautiful Jewish. It was a Jewish synagogue that had a Montessori attached. And the Montessori was run by 2 women who I found were wonderful. They hugged children and were just so playful, very sweet women. And I knew them from yoga class, and I thought Raghu would be very happy with them. So I, take Raghu to the school, no questions, just, come, we're going to go to school now, And I just walk in, and we're all, and he resisted it. I think within a couple of days he figured out, hey, this is not for me. I think the first couple of days of maybe the first week even, I don't think he realized what I was doing to him. I was just taking him there. He would hang out with children, he would play with them, and then we'd go home. But I had to leave him at some point, and he resisted that. So initially I thought, it's a week, I'll sit with him, I'll just be outside the door. The teachers were very sweet about the transition. So I didn't say anything. I said, it's fine, we'll do this. But it didn't work.
She had been to a playgroup for a month or so because she was inquisitive about going to school and what it is all about. She went there for a couple of months, but then she preferred being at home and learning, and that's how it continued.
स्कूल का भी एक्सपीरियंस मुझे कुछ अच्छा इसलिए नहीं हुआ क्योंकि वो केवल 3.25 साल की थी और उसके बाद भी उसके लिए कुछ ऐसे भारी भरकम होमवर्क्स हुआ करते थे जिनको वो प्रोजेक्ट एंड बहुत सारी चीज़ें नाम देते थे.
Our son was not interested in schooling at all. He went till senior KG, but we saw his struggle, and we thought that something is missing. His curiosity that was there was not getting not getting fulfilled in school, and he was not enjoying the compulsory activities that are happening in school all the time.
जैसे छोटी सी बात, एक दिन घर पे आई, हम स्कूल पसंद करते हैं कि हमने बहुत अच्छा स्कूल पसंद कर लिया है, सब उसमें पोएट्री है, डांस है, म्यूजिक है, सब पसंद है बच्चों को. एंड एक दिन घर पे आई है एंड शी सेज मम्मी मुझे पसंद है डांस, लेकिन जब वो करा रहे हैं, जब वो कह रहे हैं, तब मेरा नहीं मन है करने का. मुझे कई बार खाली देखना है, कई बार खाली इंजॉय करना है, खाली सुनना है. और फिर वो इट मेक्स अस रीथिंक एवरीथिंग कि सही बात है, ज़रूरी थोड़ी कि अगर बच्चे को डांस पसंद भी है तो वो 11 से 11:30 थर्सडे को ही बच्चे का डांस करने का मन कर रहा है. So that flexibility the institutes will not allow.
Altogether, I want to look for an alternative education. We send our kids to alternate school for a while, but we realize that even alternate schools are the same in a sense. Finally, school is a financial organization. School is regimented. They have to deliver goods against a payment within a certain parameter. Even parents who go send their kids to alternate school, half of the time their worry is that how will our kids be ready for this dog eat dog world. So they want their kids to be put under pressure. They think that their kids are getting a very easy life.
Education, like the way we see it in India, is very much it's very restrictive for children, and children don't explore. They are not inquisitive. They are not taught to be inquisitive. And one of the things that I always wanted my child to do is be inquisitive and ask questions. I think that's a great way to learn. And I felt that the school system that is followed across in India in most schools did not encourage that. If you asked a question, you were always shouted at and told, no, it's not that way. I've told you this is the way to go.
In every school, principal is a very authoritative figure. And also teachers, when kids see a teacher or a principal, they run the other way. Oh, madam, dekh li ki bhago, jaldi bhago. So there is a culture of fear. It's not that you see your teacher and you run to her. The culture of love is not there. So in a culture of fear, I think creativity cannot blossom.
I definitely don't want to subject my daughter to the monoculture of Western education as we see it in our country today. I'd like her to be able to enjoy her childhood, grow organically as much as possible, try to follow and gain knowledge for the sake of it, not because it's part of some curriculum. If she wants to do something in life, she doesn't have to wait till 30 to do it. She should be able to do it as early as possible.
At home we were about things like you're not in competition with anybody else. Rank and all had no meaning. It was that you understood and you would question and be comfortable staying with questions. It was okay for the parents even not to know. And in school it was all about you've got to know the answer and you've got to know only that answer and write it word for word. So it was kind of you're pulling the kid in two different directions with absolutely different sets of values. And that was a stress.
It's not been really satisfying to see them come back from school and immediately get onto TV and always say that, okay, we don't have enough to tell you, it's boring, it's the same old school. We felt that there is something that we're probably missing, and hence we said, okay, let's take a risk. We felt that there was much lesser connection when we were living a general average life where we have a lot of work at office, kids have a school, and everybody comes back like a lodge. We say nice things or not nice things, and then we close our day, and every day happens to be like that. And we felt that we miss all the bonding and the relationship the way we made with our friends back in college when we spent 5 years together. We said, why can't that happen with our kids? Why can't we have the same friendship with them? And we knew that we had to spend time together with them.
We were so interested to raise him in a very particular, best manner that we used to even go and stand outside the schools and wait for the parents and see and kind of ask them that how the kids are doing in the school and what all is happening. And then none of the parent I realized was happy But just because everybody is doing it, they had to send their children to a conventional studies.
And when we used to see that a child is going to school,
they're never happy.
On a bus stop, he's not happy, he's sad, he's sleepy, and when he's coming back, he's stressed, he's tired, and it looks like that he's been forced to do it.
With my daughter, her learning style is quite different. She's a very curious child.
But certain things that happened in school kind of made me realize that that's not the way we wanted to be. The rote learning was not what we wanted.
School systems really seemed to stall everything. It seemed to sort of put a break in everything.
Concentrating only on things that the child is not good at was really not what we expected. It came to a point where we had to decide, and it was mid-school. We had finished paying all the fees, but it was my child who was important. I could see her getting lost every single day.
But I think a point came when we felt that, rather than lose that spark in the child, we should make the effort and pull her out before it's too late, in a sense.
So we thought we did research, we met a few homeschooling parents, and then we came to know that it does exist in India, and try it out. So within 2 months we got adjusted to homeschooling very well.
We had always been fascinated by this concept of homeschooling.
I always wanted to homeschool. I made that decision when I was myself 17 years old.
We had seen some of our friends homeschooling, but that's not what we actually wanted to homeschool. But as we got to know them better, and also as we got to know the school system better, how it works now, we lean towards homeschooling.
We are still looking at different schools that follow different methods of education, and homeschooling is one of the things that we thought that if I wanted my child to learn in a certain way, who better to do that than me? So, which is why we were looking at homeschooling as one of the options.
We have been homeschooling ever since we heard about homeschooling at the time when we listened to a person called Jonathan Lindwall, who came to India for a seminar called Scriptural Challenges to Successful Parenting. We wanted to give them a firm foundation on what is right and wrong, values based on the Bible, because from our experience we knew that unless we have the right values, no matter what the education, our life will not be as successful or as meaningful or as happy as how God intends it to be.
Real education to me would be learning to listen to your instincts, because the biggest, the greatest teacher is God Himself, and God is there within each one of us. And since all of us have different value system, sending children to school where they mingle with people with conflicting values, I did not feel that it was a safe thing to do at the time when my children are still young and still vulnerable to ethics and values, and their self-esteem is still not strong enough.
When you look at your children, you want to think about who they will be. Like, who would you like them to be 20 years from now when they're young adults and out on their own? You as a father, you as a mother, you have some responsibility to help shape them and help guide them. So when you evaluate your educational options, right, you have local schools, private schools, boarding schools, homeschooling, it's all out there. What helps you help your children become the person that you think God wants them to be. And for us, we looked at homeschooling. That appealed to us most. Primarily, we want our kids to do well academically, but most of all, we want them to be sound and healthy people.
When we came to India, we used to live in America. When we came to India, we looked at schools and we found out that they don't teach the way my mom and dad wanted to teach me. So then they decided to homeschool me and teach their own way.
मेरी माँ सबसे ज़्यादा उस समय परेशान थी कि अगर ये नहीं भेजेगी तो कैसे होगा, और ये तो बिगाड़ देगी अपनी बेटी को, पता नहीं क्या करेगी, इसको तो कुछ आता ही नहीं है, और इस तरीके से उनके दिमाग में सवाल थे. शायद ये लग रहा था कि ये लोग अभी नहीं भेज रहे हैं लेकिन बाद में भेजेंगे, तो वो हर बार जब हमारी फ़ोन पे बात होती तो पूछते हैं कि वो स्कूल का क्या हुआ. तो हम उनको बोलते हैं कि हम नहीं भेजेंगे, बट वो कन्विंस नहीं थे कि ये लोग नहीं भेजेंगे. उन्हें भी नहीं समझ आ रहा था कि क्या करेंगे.
My parents, right, our friends, everybody always came back and said that, this is really a stupid decision you're taking. What will happen to their future, and so on. And we continue to say that, okay, we have always been, a bit experimental and careless. Maybe there's another one of those things, and we just kind of brushed it off.
हम उनको लगातार ये बताते रहते हैं ईशान के दादा दादी नाना नानी को कि देखो ये बिना स्कूल जाए भी कितना सीख रहा है, और जिस दिन हमको लगेगा हम लोग उस दिन बैठ के तय करेंगे कि नहीं इसकी लर्निंग प्रोसेस रुक रही है तो हम उसको अगले दिन से ही स्कूल में डाल देंगे. तो वी आर नॉट एंटी स्कूल बट वी आर इन द फेवर ऑफ open space learning.
My parents were a bit taken aback at the beginning because they believed in conventional schooling. They thought that we are denying our child of an opportunity to become a doctor or an engineer. So there's so many other professions also in the world. My brothers-in-law are very supportive. In fact, my sisters are totally for it, and they would love to homeschool their kids, but they want to see how we go about it.
We come from a large apartment complex. Neighbors and their children are extremely supportive of the idea. The family has been very supportive. So I think we haven't had it that difficult.
We live in an apartment complex where we are the only family who don't send our child to school. Everybody else said. Maya would always get asked these questions. अरे तुम स्कूल नहीं जाती हो क्या, इतनी बड़ी हो गई हो? Or her friends were always going to school, and she was always grappling with how to answer them.
Zarna, my mother, etc. We're very unsure about it as the entire friend circle. But we persevered.
I don't want to send to the schools. It takes 2 years to convince my wife and my family members. But now they are all comfortable with that because I am confident about that what we are doing.
Parents don't, my father doesn't support as such. But what we realize is finally we are not homeschooling because we have to prove a point. It's somewhere a middle path has to be taken. Even though we are unschooling and we don't want any curriculum bit to be there. But since we shifted to Haldwani and my father was insisting that no, your kids should at least study the books that are there in the school. So we said, fine, if you are so insistent, get the books, give it to them. And you follow up. Don't expect us to follow. So he said, fine. So he told them to study for 3 hours every day to finish the books. And what was most surprising is that our kids were reading the school books on their own, without any teacher. And in 3 months, they finished the entire course. So you are free for 9 months.
One of the advantages of homeschooling that we see is that we can take things at the pace of each child. And so if that pace is maybe faster than the normal schools would go, the kids can race ahead. And every grandparent's happy to say, oh yeah, my grandson's 3 years ahead in math.
अब जब उन्होंने recently visit किया मेरे in-laws ने, so उन्होंने देखा कि okay, academically now they learn very fast. 2 years back उनको कुछ भी नहीं मालूम था. एंड अभी सडनली उनको मतलब इस एज में जितना आना चाहिए एंड दे आर प्रॉपरली सोशलाइज्ड.
माय मॉम in the beginning she was very skeptical about it. She was against it. Slowly she saw his progress, the way he is developing faster than the personal attention that he's getting and his interest in music that got developed in homeschooling and the way he's pursuing it as a career from now on.
One of my cousin, Supriya Joshi, she started homeschooling her children in Pune, and her decision created lot of discussions and differing opinions in the family. So we came to know that such an option also exists, and when we discussed it among ourselves, it sort of clicked. We sort of started exploring it more seriously, started talking to people, reading about it, and somehow we felt that will be, if it works out, it will be a wonderful option that we can offer to our child.
Then found Swashikshan about a year and a half back, and I joined the mailing list, and I've been following the mailing list rather quietly ever since, and also Altered India, LSUC, so on and so forth.
इंडिया होम स्कूल लर्निंग करके एक वेबसाइट है, वो मुझे इस दौरान मिली और जब उसमें मैंने पढ़ना शुरू किया तो मुझे लगा कि मैं एक अलग दुनिया में आ गई.
I found out about Swashikshan and joined it. Then got a little input from other families.
I got into the group where people were doing homeschooling, and I spoke to them. I met one-on-one with a few homeschoolers from Bangalore, and that gave me more strength in my belief that what I'm thinking is not something outrageous or something weird out of the world.
This is our first IHC meet. All over India there are many homeschoolers, so let's meet up and see what happens.
And this is the first time I am joining the Indian Homeschooling Conference basically.
Attended the last 2 IHCs, and this is the third one at Palampur.
Palampur was very important for us. So she knows there are other kids like this and who can, and she is not doing something wrong by being homeschooled, but she has many more opportunities. So I wanted her to be exposed to all those things, and that's why I brought her here.
This is like the best thing that could have happened right now, because we're very new to homeschooling. We've only been doing it for a year, little less than a year, and it's such a relief to see so many people and to learn so much from all of them. It's really great. It's been a great help.
I heard about this Swashikshan. I heard about the Homeschoolers Conference. I watched some, I think some of the clippings and so on. And so I thought it would be a good idea for my daughter and I to come down and participate, because she'll also then meet others who are being homeschooled. Otherwise, in the city, in like Chennai, you are surrounded by school children. You don't really meet too many homeschool children at all.
We were thinking, I don't know what kind of conference it will be, but when I came here, it was very easy to mingle with the people and get their experiences and share some of mine.
Homeschooling itself it's the whole thing of being unique and being yourself. So I just want to see how everybody else does that also, just to get a better idea of what others are doing, what we are doing, and also to build a support system also, actually.
Coming to this conference has encouraged us in many ways, thinking out of the box and many activities for the children, how to give them the freedom that they deserve.
After we came to the 213 conference and we went back, we saw a tremendous change in her, in that she didn't feel the need to answer anybody. She had sorted out things in her own head and said that what my Amma and Acha are doing is working for me and it's working for lots of other families also. So it gave her a lot of confidence and strength, which we found that very supportive.
In homeschooling, the good thing is that every other person has a different approach. So you always ask somebody, okay, what are you doing? And he tells you something and you get a new idea. So that way, even if we didn't have any sessions, just hanging around for 4 days is a learning experience in itself.
My son's name is Nisarga, and he was 6 months old when I first went to a conference. And it was a camp, and this is my first homeschooling conference, and there are a lot of parents here, and I'm very excited, and I'm going to do this every year.
We are learning the differences between homeschooling and unschooling. We came here with the idea of homeschooling, and now gradually being introduced to unschooling, so we're really curious about it.
5 years ago when I came to India, there was I felt I couldn't see them. Maybe there were little quiet groups, but there was no online presence for homeschooling. There was the Alt-Ed India group, which I frequented and I was on, but there was no homeschooling presence. And I was very fortunate to meet Divya, Urmila, both within 2 weeks of entering India. And we were still in a makeshift place and trying to find a home to stay in. And I meet them both at Vaishali, which is one of the iconic places in Pune. And we started chatting, and we were like, we have to do this. We have to just start it. If you build it, they will come. So we are like, okay. So we go home. Divya immediately went and started the Google group, Pune Homeschoolers group, and from there it just sort of took off. So I'm really grateful for having found everyone here today, because I cannot believe that it's a community of homeschoolers. It's a community at least that you can, link with. We might all be on different sorts of paths and different journeys, but it's so beautiful to know that everyone here is trying to honor their child. And so I'm very grateful to be a part of Khandala and to be part of this first conference. We've come leaps and bounds since then.
Well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to start with, because she did go to school for a really long time. She went to school for the first 10 years of her life. So for her to unlearn a lot of things, and for me to commit myself to the role, to bring discipline to myself, to get the skeletons out of my cupboard was the hardest part, I think.
Initially, when I started off, I did not concentrate. I could not do anything different. I started pressurizing the child more. A little confusion at the beginning.
She learns through her daily activities and whatever she is inquisitive about. We don't follow a particular curriculum, but whatever she is interested in, whatever she wants to do, we take it forward.
He learns mostly through toys, puzzles, games, Lego, anything and everything.
I am learning what homeschooling is all about. I can tell you all two things that Charlotte does. She teaches them to bake every day. They bake something or the other. They cook. And she says cooking is जो हम लोग ज़िंदगी में 3 बार दिन में करते हैं, तो ज़िंदगी भर हम लोग को वो करना पड़ेगा. So cooking is something that she wants her children to learn and be able to cook for themselves and for people around them. She constantly does all the time with the children. She takes them, luckily we live in a place like Panchgani, so she takes them every evening or every morning, once for a forest walk or for like a 2 tableland, and then she'll stop and she'll show them the most amazing things which I think are really insignificant, which now I'm beginning to see a change in, and they'll talk about them and why do you think it's doing this? And then there's a tree which has marks on it, and I'm telling you I got zapped, and she said, "Chalo, Amin, tell me why do you think these marks have come?" And someone said, "Daddy, these are the marks made by a deer with his horns. They are marking trees that this is my territory, the male deer." So I said, "Oh." So anyway, then the bamboo has leaves, big leaves. Then she'll pick up those leaves and bring them home, and then they'll paint on the leaves. And then she'll pick up leaves and all from red color and all these deciduous plants, cut trees, and she'll come home with the leaves and they'll stick it on a paper, and then they'll draw and all, and then they make something amazing out of it.
I think it is important to have these periods where you do nothing. And with our hyper-stimulated society, I think we feel that they're getting bored. This getting bored has become a new fad actually almost. So I think if you're getting bored, you must be a boring person, because you have to live with yourself first. If you can't make yourself interesting, your thought process, your thinking, or your curiosity about the world around you interesting, then yeah, sure, you'll get bored all the time. There's no doubt about it.
There is one Janta Mazdoor colony. We campaigned a lot in that area. So you get to see very harsh reality of India. It's not pretty like Himachal everywhere. So when she walked through those streets, she could see the difference between the haves and have-nots. So I think that is probably 100 times better learning experience than spending a day in school.
It's all about curiosity, because at her age, we think the biggest learning is how to learn. If she can learn how to learn, she can learn everything else.
No, I'm not following a curriculum, but I've I know that if she wants to do her 10th standard, I have to keep her exposed to certain things.
We are homeschoolers, we are not unschoolers, so we have a fixed batch of 3 hours every day in the morning that we study.
Free online curriculum that we found. It's a Charlotte Mason based education, and so it's a very literature-based education, so a lot of the books that are used are actually in the public domain and freely available. And some books that we thought were important to buy, we have bought from abroad.
I think we kind of use bits and pieces of all different things. We use Sunlight mainly for literature, and also history and geography, cultural studies, language arts, that kinds of thing is mostly from Sunlight. We use Singapore math, and we've used different things for writing and different things for spelling and different things for science. We kind of use a hodgepodge.
We do follow regular curriculum which is related to the IGCSE. I cover those subjects, and then whatever else that they are interested in. The youngest is more or less free. She doesn't follow any curriculum as such. This year I've told her to give a trial of the NIOS, just so that it's like a pre-exam. So she's used to giving an exam. So I told her if she scores a good grade, then there's no need to give the IGCSE. So if she doesn't score a good grade, then she can sit for the IGCSE in case she wants to go to college. More or less the same subjects. And we check the syllabus, and it's quite on par with IGCSE. And she's covered most of the topics already in the IGCSE syllabus. So there's just 1 or 2 modules of NIOS remaining.
The Rudolf Steiner, the Waldorf homeschooling curriculum. It is actually very similar to, very close to ICSE, except that whatever we do, we try and do it experientially, holistically, involving body, mind, psyche. Everything is involved in what we study. We follow a curriculum, so that means I have to be prepared
for every grade. So now Viveka goes into the 7th and it's getting harder and harder. We already outsourcing a few things like French. She goes out for badminton, dance. I used to get the books of all the curriculums, ICSE, CBSE, SSC. Those were the 3 that were basically there around at that time. And I used to keep them just, and like all the English and history they used to read fatafat because those were the stories that they liked and all. And things like geography books and all were pretty much not touched. Maths we used to do a bit. But the books were mainly, I think, just to be read as stories, the ones which could be read, some which they were interested in. Like my younger one was very interested in the human body, so she read some biology books, I remember. But the primary objective was for me to sort of have an inkling as to what children their age are doing, so that if and when the time comes, I want to know how far away they are from what mainstream is. So that I just need for them to have the basic skills to be able to join in the academics if at any time they so desire. Reading and writing we did, and they like writing their own stuff, their own stories, their own essays, which I encouraged them to do, or I let them do rather. They did a lot of drawing and stuff like that, creative stuff. They wrote poems, but also I made them write once in a while. Like after they read even a story, I would put like a question for them. So what do you think? Just write the answer. Don't tell me, write it down. So that they had a practice of writing on a subject that is given to them and that has not occurred to their minds.
Whole day I'll be reading books, and I'll help my mom in the kitchen, and I'll play with my brother, and at evening I'll go to play with my neighboring friends.
Hobby is collecting all old coins, and I play the piano and go for Bharatnatyam, table tennis.
In the morning I study, and then sometimes I write, I draw activities, and then after lunch I play with my friends, and then in the afternoon I like to read.
Well, one of my biggest hobbies is gaming. Shooting games, puzzle games, adventure games, action games, adventure games, bloody games. Just a few months ago I read an entire novel about Al Capone, Alphonse Capone, the famous gangster. I like comic strips, game guides. My recent game guide is about Bakugan, a popular game in Japan and US. I like to play outside sometimes, but I don't have that much access to my friends all the time. I have a neighbor. He lives just downstairs. So his name is Ishan, and we play a lot in the PS3. He goes to school. That's the most unfortunate part about it.
We said we'll take it for 7 years, and after that we'll ask her what she feels about whether she wants to do some schooling or whatever. Now we have reached at a stage where she is very clear in her head that she doesn't want to do any outside schooling. She is very delighted with the setup, and it suits us as a family also.
Initially she was very confused, then she was very bored. She was a little scared. She didn't, because she was so used to the rote learning part. Didn't know what to tell her friends, so she said that she's going to some different kind of a school. So she kept. She still does that. She tells them different kind of stories. With the freedom that she's given to find her own stuff, she's been able to pursue her interests.
She's very happy not going to school, and even taking her to all of the volunteering projects that we do, where we practice kindness or where we kind of do things, involving her since very early age. She's been with us for the last 3 years. She's been coming with us, and she thoroughly enjoys it. And I don't know, the kind of seeds you plant at this age about practicing these little acts of kindness, what it will germinate into. So it's been beautiful. She really enjoys it.
Initially, what people were always threatening me of social interaction, that is, in fact, he is more getting more social interaction than the other children, because they are interacting only with their peers.
It's good, and it's not like what people think, that the kids are socially alienated, and that misconception, and that's the misconception I had. And even a year into homeschooling, I was still afraid of that. But yeah, that's not true at all. Look at the kids, they are just all over the place.
My son is an archer. He's doing very well in archery. And then he keeps doing tennis and a lot of other stuff. we enjoy it. We do a lot of field trips, a lot of experiments. So we spend our day doing all this.
She is 12 years old. For her age, she is a very good tabla player. She is a very good carpenter. She is a very good writer. She is a very good poet. So for her age, I think what she wants to do, she really does very well.
My elder daughter, she is doing windsurfing now, and she is doing it quite well. If she had done schooling, normal schooling, it would have not been possible for her to give so much time to the sport, or any sport rather.
Our oldest was very into chess for a long time. He did chess. Now he's primarily into basketball and piano.
And music composition along with the piano.
Yeah, music composition.
And the second one is taken up guitar recently, and he's our artist, so he likes drawing and other artistic opportunities. Both the boys are into computers and computer programming too.
She loves making poems. बहुत सुंदर poems बनाती है विदुषी. जब से उसने बोलना शुरू किया तब से वो poems बनाती है.
We started playing these games of rhyming, and she started writing poems, which was really surprising. And she wrote many poems, and recently we got everything compiled, and very soon we will have a book of her own.
Khushbu now studies in New York with a complete scholarship, $50,000 scholarship given by the United World College. So to a certain extent the idea sort of has found rest.
I do violin and photography, movie making. Yeah.
I like football. I play keyboard, piano.
Okay.
I used to play football and I like playing football.
Okay.
Sometimes I play cricket. I play tabla.
I got a prize in a photography competition and I've been painting for a few months.
तो एक प्रेशर रहता है स्कूल के शेड्यूल को फॉलो करने में, उसमें जो उसकी पर्सनालिटी डिस्टॉर्ट होती है, उसकी क्रिएटिविटी किल होती है, और उसमें एक सेंस ऑफ कंपटीशन आती है, जिसके कारण उसको ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे कोई चीज़ ये इसलिए सीखना है कि मुझे कुछ लोगों को बताना है और बता के मुझे एक एप्रिसिएशन गेन करना है. और जब उसका ये एटीट्यूड बनता जाता है ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड, तो मुझे लगता है कि लर्निंग तो ऑलमोस्ट डिस्टॉर्ट हो जाती है. वो सिर्फ इसलिए सीखता है कि उसको इम्प्रेस करना है और दुनिया की जो सबसे सस्ती चीज़ है प्रशंसा, वो उसे बटोरनी है. तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरा बेटा इस मायने में अभी तक इससे बचा हुआ है, जिससे हम भी नहीं बचे हुए हैं, क्योंकि हम भी अपने दिन में जितना काम करते हैं आधा काम इसी बात के लिए करते हैं कि लोग हमको देखें, हमको अप्रिशिएट करें, और फिर उसके हमको कुछ क्रेडिट्स दें, फिर उसको हम एंजॉय करें. तो इन सब छोटी मोटी चीज़ों के लिए हम पूरा दिन निकाल देते हैं. तो मेरा बेटा भी उससे बचा हुआ है, वो अपने सेटिस्फेक्शन के लिए काम करता है और उससे वो एंजॉय लेता है.
I wanted my children to have that strength that comes from within, which says ki no matter what happens, even when my parents are not there with me, even if I don't have any friends, even if I don't have any kind of support from the world, there is still a power, a huge force within me that is going to support me, that is going to guide me. In intense darkness also it will show me the light. And that I feel is real education, moving towards that source of light. And I did not feel that school, any kind of schooling would successfully provide that kind of education.
We get to participate in other things which I think if your child is going to school, you can't. Yeah. Like we had gone for the campaigning of the Aam Aadmi Party. Yeah. So we were there for 2.5-3 months. And she got to participate in it, not with us, but there were a lot of youngsters from colleges, and she went, door to door campaigning and shouting slogans and doing all kinds of stuff, getting to know different kind of people, which I think just because you are in the school, I have homework and I have exams and all kinds of stuff, and you get restricted in your movement.
We have an idea that there is something called NIOS through which she can get a 10th or 12th equivalent certification, and then she can follow her professional courses if she wants to.
As a ritual, you can say, 10th and 12th certificate has to be done. So in that case, we'll see, they either will use some IB or NIOS, one of them, that we'll see then. But if by the time kids reach a level where they feel they don't need it, then we can let it go, it doesn't matter.
And so my elder daughter had a 4th standard school leaving certificate. The younger one didn't have that.
But I realized that, I was told that basically what we want to know is what your kid did this for these 6 years. We need a continuity in her educational, So what I was advised to do when I went to a notary and basically just wrote a letter that I am so and so and this is my daughter so and so and we live in this place. And for the last 6 years, for the elder one and for the younger one, the last 8 years, we have been at home studying for this particular exam and she has given this exam. So my elder one, both of them took arts. And my elder one, she did literature. She graduated with literature, and the younger one with psychology. Then she kind of did it by herself. She applied to these universities abroad and she got into Oxford, where she did her MPhil in development studies. Then she came back, she got married. She had a sweetheart from when she was in 12th standard and she came back, she got married, and they live in Delhi. She's working with Center for Policy Research. She's a researcher. Yeah, that's the elder one. And the younger one, after she did her psychology, she's very gifted with the arts. So she joined the National Institute of Design at Ahmedabad. And she's in her final year. She did a 4-year course again. She's doing her graphic designing now.
We are actually creating a society of consumers instead of creators. So that is why we are always looking for approval, which is those certificates. If you want to become an employee, then you go for all those certificates. But if you want to become an employer, what certificate do you need? You can start your own shop, you can start your own business, you can be a writer, you can be a painter. I don't know why you need a certificate from anybody.
I want to become a game tester, and I'm interested in getting a job of that. I don't care if I work for free, I just want to test games. No, just I can work for free first. If they like me, then they can just pay me if they want.
And so many parents you meet, the kid would know the height of the Eiffel Tower. But if you ask what are the trees around you, they wouldn't know their names or their usefulness. So all these things are really important.
We should not take away their childhood. We try to make an adult out of 3-year-old, 5-year-old and 6-year-old. I think what best we can give them is give back what they have, which is their innocence, and not rob that off of them, which is what is happening of late. And I feel very emotional and sad seeing children going through that at a very early age. When will they get that freedom then, if not now?
You have to give your child their childhood. So as long as you give them their childhood, they will learn everything on their own.
दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है और उस बड़ी दुनिया को देखने का मौका बच्चे को मिलना चाहिए. ये उसका बर्थ राइट है, क्योंकि किताबों के अलावा भी बहुत बड़ी दुनिया है. स्कूल की बिल्डिंग के बाहर भी बहुत बड़ी दुनिया है, और मैं कहता हूँ घर के बाहर भी बहुत बड़ी दुनिया है. तो सारे पेरेंट्स को मैं रिक्वेस्ट ये करता हूँ, एडवाइस तो मैं नहीं दे सकता, पर मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि स्कूल से निकालने के बाद आप अपने बच्चे को घर में कैद मत कीजिए, क्योंकि ये उसके लिए और बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. आप उसको खुला छोड़िए और खुद भी टाइम दीजिए, और उसको जितनी जगह ले जा सकते हैं, जितने वेन्यूज से एक्सपोज कर सकते हैं, उसको जितनी पर्सनालिटी से एक्सपोज कर सकते हैं, जितनी प्रोसेस से एक्सपोज कर सकते हैं, वो उसकी क्रिएटिविटी को शार्प करेगा और अल्टीमेटली फिर वो अपना रास्ता ढूंढ लेगा उस प्रोसेस में.
सो मैसेज फॉर फादर्स इन पर्टिकुलर दैट दिस इज एन एक्सट्रीमली जॉयस जर्नी. देयर इज मच मोर टू गेन इन बीइंग an active father, being involved, present in all the needs of the child. And the relationship that I have with my son is, I'm proud to say, it's extremely satisfying.
When I look at my children, they are a mirror of me, and by what they do, what they see, how they behave, their needs, I'm able to understand myself better. And due to the love that I have for them, I get the strength to rectify myself, to change my ways, to go to any extreme, any difficult extreme, to be a better human being myself, so that I can create a better world for them.
The main thing is that we have to provide a space where it's okay to take risks, it's okay to fall down, it's okay to get hurt, and there is a term called helicopter parents, where the parents are always hovering around the child, and that is creating a totally artificial atmosphere, because when the kid grows up, he will have to anyway get into the real world, and at that time you realize that you're not always protected. People will sort of abuse you, and you will have quarrels and arguments with people, and you have to learn to live with that. But my analogy is always like with muscles. To make our muscles stronger, we have actually to exercise them, which means you have to stress them, you have to strain them, and the more you stress and strain them, the more stronger you get them. And same thing with the problem solving. But what we are doing with the kids is just the opposite. We are removing all possible obstructions, so there is nothing to strain against. It becomes a soft world. But the moment you go out into the real world, then you will see that it's your muscles have atrophied because you never used them.
I used to be, I think the word is evangelize. I used to evangelize. You must homeschool. It is the way to be. And I think I ticked off many people in my life with my gung-ho. Hey, come on, can't you see it? I'd send them Ken Robinson videos and say, see, this is how it works. Can you just, because I loved their children and I wanted their children to be free. But I don't think it's right. I think it's better for each person to find their journey. And if any parent comes to me and says, I'm not feeling good about what's going on in school, then I say there's a segue and I can talk and I can help them. But I feel just reach out to the community. There are now, you're very fortunate. There's so many communities online. We have Ning and we have Swashikshan as a group itself, as an umbrella to be under. So we have so much. So just link in, read up. Meet people, definitely, and it helps see how you can change your connection with your child.
मुझे लगता है कि हर बच्चे के साथ अलग अलग चैलेंजेस हैं, क्योंकि हर बच्चा, मेरे पास में 3 बच्चे हैं, तीनों अलग अलग हैं, और कभी कभी होता है अच्छा नहीं फील होता है जब नहीं होता है, लेकिन अचानक से कोई दिन इतने अच्छे जाते हैं कि ऐसा लगता है कि मैंने जो डिसीजन लिया है वो सबसे सही डिसीजन लिया है.
In homeschooling, I found the greatest advantage is the flexibility of teaching a child what he or she likes, making them a master in that, and that's why I would always prefer homeschooling.
Prospective homeschoolers, go for it. Don't think too much. Just do it.
Once you come into this community, it's best. I wish all the children in this world were homeschooled.
What's the advice? Go with your full heart into it, and don't get scared if the children for some point in time are not turning out exactly, in the way you think they should turn out. No, they may not even, but you will know enough to know that they have their own thing to do in life. And it won't be bad. It can't be bad if you've let them be and you've loved them and you've given them the space.
It's a completely, it's going to be a lifestyle change. Go with that and expect the unexpected.
What I could feel or experience with homeschooling is the boundaries of life have been removed. Now the life is like free flowing. You can just move out anywhere in any ways. And that's life's great now. Thanks.
Over the last 3 years, I'm very happy to see a big community of homeschoolers growing in India suddenly.
I think it's exciting to see so many families in India considering this option. I mean, that's amazing, because when we first made the decision to homeschool in India, I felt like there was hardly anyone. I didn't know actually at the time I didn't know any Indians, only expats. So it's exciting to see how that's changing.
Hi, my name is Nancy. I'm 6 years old. I have one sister and one brother.